Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming back to Baby Girl on a Budget. If you watched my last video, thank you. If you did not, please go back and take a look at that one. This one is just a continuation and an explanation of how the did I get myself into this. All right, so let's get started. This is going to be the debt explanation. And I would like to let you know that everything that I did was dumb. Okay. So just keep that in mind. You know, everybody makes mistakes. It is what it is. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So I will start. You already seen the screen. I'm not going to put the numbers back up. If you did not see it in the previous video, once again, please watch. But I'm in about $100 and something thousand of debt. The first one was the infamous student loans. I really don't need to explain this. You have an idea that I went to college. The funny thing is, I went to college 2 times. The first time I went, it was for business administration. That was a full scholarship. I went to a private school and it was all good. For some reason, I decided, hey, let me go back to school. Well, it wasn't for some reason. I wanted to follow my dreams. I went to school to be a fashion designer, you know, all the sewing and knitting and things like that. I was wanting to be in the fashion industry. So I kind of still am basically, but I went back to school and that is what these student loans are for. I do not agree with student loans at all. If you don't need to get a student loan, do not get them. If you can't pay for college, maybe get a job where they pay for it. I don't know, but it's definitely a trap and it's very predatory. So anyway, that is what happened with that one. The second one I want to go over, I wonder if I should show you, like if I should point it out. Just so you can kind of see what we were working on already. This was what we just talked about, student loans. Now, if we want to go to the next thing, I think we can talk about this one, PayPal. So I did not know that I was getting a credit card at all. What I did, I got a promotion, a very big promotion. It was like a real, like my big girl job that I had, and I was really excited. And I said, oh my God, I need some work clothes. I need some slacks. I need some button ups. I need some kitten heels. I need all of that good stuff to go with this big paying job. And I went on Shein. Yes. Bruh. Yeah, I did. I got a big girl paying job and I went on Shein and I bought like $340 worth of clothes. It was a lot of clothes. And when I went to pay, I clicked on the pay with PayPal because I have, you know, my cards on there and stuff like that. And there was this option that popped up and said, hey, you can get $20 off and it will be interest free. I mean, I didn't know it was a credit card though. I just thought it was a good deal. I mean, I have no idea. Did that happen to anybody else before? It's just me? Oh, okay. Well, whatever. So that's what happened with this. That is why I have a PayPal credit card. So you see, I skipped these. I'm trying to just go in order of how I feel like telling the story. So we got the student loans out the way. All right. We talked about the PayPal credit card. Let's talk about the Best Buy. So I actually did not have a balance on this credit card. I got this credit card a few years ago when I bought a camera. So I paid that off. This was at $0. And then they told me that I have 0% interest on balance transfers. I had like a group of cards. I basically just put all of those balances on the Best Buy credit card. You know what? I can basically talk about these two because they're really the same. I got this personal loan to consolidate all of my previous credit card debt before I got this one. And I was thinking in my head that, oh, let me get this personal loan so I can consolidate all of my debt and just pay $452 a month. and I'll be good after 3 years. This was a whole lot of shopping, like years worth of shopping and just doing stuff. So this is what that is for. And then I consolidated that and made that into one loan, and it was $452 a month. And I was cool with that. This credit card, Best Buy, is basically because I was no longer making a lot of money. So before I got my big girl job, I was an entrepreneur, but I still am. Of course, we'll talk about that. So I'm just an entrepreneur with a 9 to 5. And during the pandemic, my business was booming. It was booming. At one point in time, it just went down. It went downhill. My sales dropped. I lost access to Facebook ads. I lost access to my Etsy shop. I mean, it was just a lot that went on. So I went from bringing in $300,000 to $350,000 of revenue with my business to bringing in $140,000 a year of revenue with my business. With that amount of revenue, there is no way that I can make a full-time income. I know some people would say, oh, you bring in $140,000. Listen, that is revenue. You know, you're still paying for the raw materials. You're still paying for the products. You're still paying for packages. You're still paying for a lot of things. So if you're bringing in $140,000 of revenue, I mean, I just, no, I can't get a full-time salary off of that. So I went back to work, but it took me like a year before I went back to work. And I was using my credit card to just kind of survive throughout that time. So that is what this is for. This was for past spending. This was for surviving. All right, so we're done with that. These two right here, Fifth Third Bank credit card and US Bank loan, those balances are strictly due to moving. That is it. I needed to move out of my house. It wasn't like, let me say this. I loved my old house. Loved it down. It was a 4,000 square foot home. It had like a huge master suite, huge bathroom, huge walk-in closet, 3.5 bedrooms. I had a huge basement. My business was in the basement. It was an amazing home. And when I originally moved into that home in 2020, my rent was $2,000. By the time October of 2025, they told me that my rent in January would be $3,000. It was already $2,760. That's $2,800 I was paying every month. And then it's a sizable house. So it's not like your house bills are super low. It was a lot. It basically was going up $200 every year. And I just couldn't do it anymore. So I found a house. It was around the corner from my old house. My rent went from $2,760 to $2,245. So it gave me an extra $500 and something back into my pocket. On top of that, my little sister was already living with me. She was living with me for years and she didn't have to pay anything. I made my little sister start paying, and then my little sister's friend also moved in and she also pays as well. It was one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. But the cost of moving is no joke, I would like to tell you. This credit card, I used it for two things. So I had to get the carpets shampooed. And then also, since I downsized, I had a whole lot of that I needed to get rid of. I mean, yeah, I just had to get rid of it. So that was what this was. That was the balance on this credit card. This right here is the cost of moving. So I did not know it was a loan. Once again, I mean, I don't know, from the last time you guys acted like y'all never did something like that before, but okay, this is the same thing that happened with PayPal. They gave me the quote. I accepted the quote and they said, oh, you know what else is also good? You can pay in payments. I'm like, oh, really? Listen, my money was tight. They said, oh, you can do 0% interest and you don't have to make any payments. I thought I was just going to be making payments to the company. Yeah, you know, and I did put in my social security number, but it was like, I thought, you know how they do like a little soft pull. Let me just see if it's even worth it. Like if she's trustworthy type of thing. No, it was a full blown loan. That's how that happened. And the last thing, the Genius loan, it is, of course, a personal loan, but it is a loan that I use for my business. This goes back to the part where during the pandemic, my business was booming. I became way too ambitious. I started using credit and the loans that they were offering me to try to build my business faster and just milk everything I can during that time because it was just such a boost. It was a boost of cash, it was a boost of orders, a boost to my ego. I mean, it was boosting everything, baby. I had to keep getting inventory, keep getting inventory. And then, of course, things were costing more because there were delays and stuff. It was just a lot going on. So, yeah, by the time that everything kind of hit a halt and just slowed down, I still had a lot of inventory to pay for. In order for me to kind of just get my head above water and just breathe a little bit, I needed to take out a loan, and that is the 157817. Now my business is kind of settled. These are the decisions that I made, the situation that I put myself in. It is what it is. So I'm not really here to sugarcoat it and, oh, I should have did this or, oh, I should have did that. I mean, listen, it happened already. So let's move forward. $116,752 is where I'm at the moment. I think I have $5,000 on Affirm. So it's really $121,000. And here we are. Next video, I want to go over income, the money. And we'll talk about how much money I make and how my budget goes. So thank you for watching till the end. And I hope to see you next time. Thank you.